Welcome back to another video. This is Save Your Souls, and this is a performance review on the Nike Kyrie II. And without wasting any more of your time, let's go straight to the review. Now, let's start with traction. Now, I have shown you this model before. I've given you a detailed view on what you get, and I have played around in these a lot since. And here is my take on the kind of features that you get with the Kyrie IIs. I did tell you during our videos or the quick kick reviews that feature the Kyrie IIs, you're getting a good amount of traction. This is called pivot traction, and what pivot traction does is it covers you in whatever kind of direction you want to go to. You want to go to the left, you want to go to the right, side, lateral movements, front to backs, it's got you covered. It's that good. And in addition to that, it also wraps up here on the lateral and the medial sides. So even when you slant your left, if you're the kind of player that pushes off from the medial side, you're going to get some coverage. There's really zero chance of slippage with this traction pattern, except if you're playing in a very dusty court. No matter how good your traction is or a shoe's traction pattern is, if the court is dusty, you are going to slip. So if you are going to be playing in dusty courts, make sure that you keep up with the wiping and you should be good. Now, having said that, if you are going to be playing in the Kyrie IIs, especially outdoors, be warned, the traction pattern is made of very pliable and soft rubber. So even if it does give you a lot of traction when you're playing, if you're playing outdoors, especially on black tops and cement, this is going away very fast. I wouldn't actually recommend these for outdoor play just because of that. Moving up to cushioning, you get, and I'm correcting myself here because I think in an older video I said that you get zoom on the forefoot and nothing on the heel. I'm wrong, I'm sorry. It's just that the Kyrie ones had that set up and I had assumed, but not for the Kyrie II. So the Kyrie IIs, your basic cushioning system is Phylon here on the midsole, and you have a heel zoom air unit and nothing on the forefoot. So it's very interesting because this is a guard shoe, and guards usually play on their toes, which is the forefoot area, which is why you get a lot of guard shoes featuring zoom air here on the forefoot. Having said that, the Kyrie IIs have the zoom unit on the heel, and what that does is give you a little bit more impact protection because you tend to have a lot of stress on your heel and your lower back when you're jumping around and running around, and basically most of the movements that you get or that you do in basketball. So for the Kyrie IIs, they give you a heel zoom bag, but nothing on the forefoot. Now, when I say nothing, it's not really nothing. There is a layer of poron here on the forefoot, and what poron is just really soft foam. But as far as feelings are concerned, what you're going to get in terms of feeling because of that poron is just really step-in comfort and not a lot more. The rest of your cushioning is going to come from a ortholite insole. So it's this spongy insole that's been used on the inside is going to give you some of your comfort and a little bit of your cushioning. And what's good about ortholite, if you don't know, by the way, is it's antibacterial. So if you do sweat in them when you play, it's probably not going to get as stinky as some of the other basketball shoes out there in the market. So that's what you get with cushion, and that's what you get with traction. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing that you're not getting a lot of cushion in these shoes, because the intention that they had for the shoes was to give you court feel. If you know who Kyrie Irving is and you've seen how he plays, the guy needs a lot of court feel, and he doesn't jump around a lot. In fact, I think in his professional career, I've only seen him dunk the ball once, and that's it. And he doesn't really jump that high anyway because he focuses on speed. Now, if you're a guard who focuses on speed, then you might not necessarily need that much of impact protection. But if you're playing the forward position, or worse, the center position, stay away from these shoes. I would say that it's nice to have a minimal cushioning shoe in your choices or options as far as basketball shoes are concerned, because I personally like to interchange having a good cushioned shoe, like the D-Rose 6, for example, and then a shoe like this, which is focused in court feel and not giving you a lot of cushion. And the only reason why I do that is because I like to train my foot to be a little bit stronger. And by switching from a soft material to a more rigid or stiff material, I get to build that strength. So what I usually would do would be to play in these one game or one pickup game or during my training session, and the next day or the day after that, during my recovery days, I'd wear something with a lot of cushion. So again, that's just my personal way of doing things. You can have a different way. I mean, you can just go with cushion if you want to, and if that's the case, stay away from these shoes. But if you want to do the same thing, or if you don't really jump around a lot and you don't really need impact protection, then the Kyrie 2s would be a great option as far as cushion is concerned. Going into the upper, this is fuse. So here on the forefoot, it's really a lot of fuse. I thought first off when I saw pictures of these that this is going to be mesh, but it's not. It's just really fuse layered with mesh and then with more fuse. And what fuse is really just plastic. I'm not a big fan of this particular area because I don't like playing in plastic. For the Kyrie 2s, it didn't hurt, but I kind of think it's going to hurt when it's plastic. So that's why I'm not a big fan of hyperfuse. But they did a pretty good job of using hyperfuse for this particular pair. What they did was they had a layer of nylon, and then they used fuse material and then mesh, and then for high wear areas like here on the toe box and here on the eye stays, they used more fuse, but it's been executed in a way where it's not flexible. As you can see, that's very stiff, but at least it's comfortable, which is a good thing. Now, the rest of the upper, the portion used here on the back portion, here on the heel, is a soft sort of mesh and nylon, which is actually one of the best things I think for the shoe. I like the way this whole back portion feels. It cups your heel perfectly. It's very comfortable. The only thing I didn't like is this section over here. These would dig into the back part of your ankle if you don't wear higher socks. As long as you wear socks that go up higher than the collar section, you're good to go. The midfoot strap is really good. It does its job of giving you more snug, a more one-to-one fit. It gives you a lot more support. I'm not saying that it's necessary though. Like even without the strap, this whole design will work. The strap just makes it a lot more supportive, and that's the reason why the strap is there. So that's perfect. It does its job. Another thing that I liked about the strap is it's made in a way where even if it comes off as you're running or you're cutting, because it lands back to the Velcro section over here, the tendency is even if it comes off, it'll just snap back on. I think it's pretty cool. Now, moving on to the tongue, for example, it does give you a significant amount of padding. I actually like this kind of padding. I think I would say medium padding, because you get basketball shoes now with the really thick tongues. Like Adidas likes to do that. I don't like that at all. And it's nice that in the Kyrie 2s they give you some padding, but not too much and not too little either, because some of the Fuse sneakers that Nike have put out in the past only has like 2 pieces of plastic. That is not something that I like as well, because that has a tendency to be uncomfortable and to dig into your foot. But for the Kyrie 2s, you get more of that nylon and that padding, so that works perfect as far as I'm concerned. So pretty much the upper does its job. It's not the most comfortable material out there, but it is very supportive because of that sculpted area for your heel and the internal heel counter, the strap, and the fit of the shoe. Everything just works well to keep your foot in the shoe. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention when I was talking about the midsole and the outsole is if you notice the shape, this shoe can actually rock back and forth. So look at that. First, I thought that was a bad thing when I first got this pair, just because I'm used to having an outrigger for my basketball shoes. And what an outrigger is, if you're not familiar with it, it's a part of your outsole that sticks out a little bit in an angle here near the forefoot. What that's supposed to do is it's supposed to stop you from rolling your ankles. These have none of that. So you can see it's rounded over here on the lateral side and the medial side. So it's actually okay for your foot to rock inside. You know, it actually helps you push off. But here I was a little bit worried that I'd roll my ankle just because this is curved. Now, what I did notice when I was playing in these is even if at first it was a little bit awkward to have this shape and not something that's really flat and flush to the ground, it's just the shape. The whole shape of the shoe, the way it's built, oriented to this area, it's like it kind of tapers to this area. That's basically your outrigger. That shape alone stopped me from rolling potentially rolling my ankles. What I've also noticed is when I was playing in these, I was starting to move this way a lot more than I would have with an outrigger. This gives you a little bit more range of motion, but still stops you from rolling your ankles. So I think that's a pretty good thing. So overall, I would say that the Kyrie 2s are a great guard shoe. Actually, I'd give it a higher rating, maybe an 8 out of 10. The only drawback would have been the materials, just because it's plastic and I'm not a big fan of that, and the fact that you're not getting a lot of cushioning. For older players and for players who have injuries, this is definitely not going to be an option for you, and that's really the negative part of the shoe, because that means you're not going to be able to experience the great traction and the great support that the shoe has to offer. But if you are like me, who can switch between a cushioned shoe and who'd like to build more strength for your foot, then this is a great option to consider. Pretty much that takes care of the Kyrie 2s. Tell us what you think. Would you like to see more performance reviews? And if you do, what particular models did you want to get a performance review of? As always, feel free to put in a comment on the comment box below, and we'll see you on the next video.